Chapter 2. Diversity in the living world. Plants are all around us. They grow almost everywhere on the earth, even in very hot and cold places. Plants are of different shapes and sizes and show a variety of adaptations. Plants have different parts. Each part of a plant performs a special function. Let us study about different types of plants. Classification of plants. On the basis of size, plants can be grouped into three main categories: herbs, shrubs and trees. In addition to these, there are climbers and creepers also. Herbs. Herbs are small non-woody plants having green, subtle and soft stem. They may not have many branches. Their life is usually small. Examples of herbs are wheat, rice, radish, mustard, sunflower, gram, green peas, mint, etc. Shrubs. Shrubs are woody, branched, and medium-sized plants. They are taller than herbs. Their stem is hard but not very thick. They are bush-like plants having many branches rising just above the ground. So, the main stem is not easily distinguished. Examples of shrubs include China rose, henna, jasmine, lemon, etc. Trees. Trees have a hard, thick and woody stem known as trunk. They are tall. They have branching in the upper part of the stem. Some trees are unbranched like palm tree. Coniferous trees are conical in shape but mango and banyan trees are dome-shaped. Climbers. The climbers have tender stem and cannot stand erect on their own. They can climb up by taking support of other trees or sticking to host. Examples are pea plant, grapevine and bougainvillea. These plants have special organs for climbing called tendrils. Creepers. Creepers have a soft stem and cannot stand erect on their own. They creep on the surface or on the ground and spread out. Examples are pumpkin and watermelon. Roots. The underground, non-green part of a plant that holds the plant to the soil is called the root. There are two types of root systems, taproot and fibrous root. In the taproot system, there is a thick and long main root known as the taproot. It grows straight downwards. Many small roots called the lateral roots or secondary roots arise from the taproot. Plants like gram, pea, mustard, sunflower, carrot, tulsi, holy basil, neem and mango have taproot system. In the fibrous root system, a main root is not present. Instead, many similar-sized roots arise in a cluster from the base of the stem and spread out in the soil. These roots are called fibrous roots. Plants like wheat, barley, sugar cane, maize, banana and grass have fibrous root system. Leaf. Leaves are thin, green, flat structures that perform photosynthesis. These are attached to the stem by a soft, thin and cylindrical structure called petiole. The point of attachment in a stem is known as a node. The flat green portion of a leaf is called the leaf blade or the lamina. It bears the green pigment, chlorophyll, that helps in photosynthesis. Each leaf has a central midrib, which is an extension of the petiole in the lamina. This midrib branches into a network of tubular structures called veins. The veins provide support to the lamina and transport food, water, and minerals to and from the leaves. Leaves have different shapes and sizes. A simple leaf is made of a single leaf blade connected by a petiole to the stem, that is a mango leaf or a maple leaf. The arrangement of veins in leaf blade is called venation. The leaves of plants show two distinct venation. Parallel. The veins here are arranged parallel to each other like in banana and grass leaves. Reticulate. In this venation, there is a net-like arrangement on both sides of the leaves. Peepal, neem and mango leaves have this type of venation. Seeds. After fertilization, an ovule develops into an embryo or a baby plant. The embryo is surrounded by a hard wall. This hard wall with the embryo inside is known as seed. The embryo contains the plumule which grows into the shoot and the radicle that grows into the root of the future plant. The seed leaves or cotyledons contain food for the baby plant, and there is a seed coat that protects the seed. Habitat. A place where plants and animals live together is known as habitat. A habitat provides animals and to some extent, plants with their basic requirements such as food, water, shelter, including soil, air, and a place to raise their young. There are two main types of habitats, aquatic and terrestrial habitats. These habitats are further classified into different categories. Aquatic habitats. Aquatic habitats are those that exist in water bodies, like lakes, swamps, oceans, rivers, algal beds and reefs. Living components that are part of aquatic habitats are algae, water lily, fish, squids, shrimps, seals, whales, seaweeds, etc. These habitats can be further classified into marine habitat, for example, oceans and seas. Freshwater habitat, for example, lakes, rivers, ponds and streams. Coastal habitat, for example, sea coasts. Terrestrial habitats. Habitats that exist on land are known as terrestrial habitats. A desert, a mountainous area, a grassland, a rainforest, and a polar region are all examples of terrestrial habitats. Examples of organisms that live in terrestrial habitats include goats, camels, polar bears, cows, elephants, etc. Amphibians are the organisms that can survive on both land and water. One of the most common examples is the frog. Components of habitat. Our surrounding comprises of water, air, soil, clouds, animals, plants, etc. These things together make up the environment. Environment has two components, biotic and abiotic. Biotic components. All living things present in our surroundings constitute the biotic environment. Producers. All green plants are living things that make their own food. Therefore, they are known as producers or autotrophs. They prepare their food by photosynthesis, for which they require non-living things like sunlight, carbon dioxide and water. Consumers. All living animals and non-green plants that cannot prepare their own food and are dependent on plants, directly or indirectly, for food are known as consumers or heterotrophs. Herbivores, which feed on plants only, are called primary consumers. Carnivores, which feed on other animals or herbivores, are called secondary consumers. Abiotic components. Abiotic components of the environment are comprised of soil, water, air, sunlight and temperature. All the abiotic components are essential for the growth of living beings present in our environment. Adaptation. All organisms strive to survive in an ecosystem. They do this by adjusting themselves according to their surroundings. They may change their eating habits according to the food available or they may change their body structure over a period of time to suit a particular environment. This quality of altering according to the surrounding in a particular ecosystem is present in all living beings. This is known as adaptation. Animals also adapt themselves structurally and functionally according to their habitat. This type of adaptation in animals enables them to live in their habitat successfully and carry on reproduction also. Adaptations in terrestrial habitats. Deserts, grasslands, forests and mountains are terrestrial habitats. Deserts. Deserts cover more than one-third of the world's land and are very dry. They receive very less rainfall. They can be both hot and cold. The ground is sandy and rocky. The winds blow the sand all around. The plants that can grow in deserts are cactus, deep-rooted shrubs, and some common grasses. The animals that live in deserts are camels, fennec foxes, jackals, rattlesnakes, lizards, spiders, scorpions, and birds like quails and swifts. Adaptations in a camel. Camels have many adaptations that allow them to survive successfully in the deserts. The long eyelashes of camels keep sand out of their eyes. They have thick eyebrows that shield the eyes from the desert sand. They can close their nostrils so that sand does not enter their nose. They can go for a week or more without water and can last for several months without food. They can drink up to 32 gallons, 46 liters, of water at one time. They store fat, not water, in the hump. Their feet are wide so they can walk on the sand easily without sinking into it. They have thick lips so they can eat the prickly desert plants without feeling pain. Ears of camels are covered with hair, even on the inside. The hair helps keep sand or dust out that might blow into their ears. Its hump has stored fats that act as a food reserve. Adaptations in small animals. Small desert-dwelling organisms, like rats and snakes, do not have long legs like a camel. To protect themselves from the intense heat during the day, they stay in burrows deep inside the sand and come out only during the night when it is cooler. Adaptations in a cactus. Plants that grow in deserts are called xerophytes. Cactus is the most common plant that grows in deserts. The desert plants have long roots that spread out or penetrate deep into the soil. For example, a mesquite bush grows extensive root systems in order to extract water present deep in the soil. Leaves of a cactus are reduced to spines to prevent water loss through transpiration. It has a green stem that prepares food for the plant through photosynthesis. It is spongy and stores water. In some plants, entire body is covered with a waxy layer to prevent the loss of water. This also helps to retain water inside the plant body. Grasslands. These are the areas with thick growth of tall grass. A large variety of wild animals are found in grassland habitat. They include deer, zebra, giraffe, lion and leopard. Lion and deer are found both in grasslands. A predator is an animal that hunts other animals for its food, while the animal that gets hunted by the predator is the prey. A lion is a predator, while deer is its prey. A prey is usually smaller in size than the predator. Both predator and prey develop a number of adaptations for their survival. Let's understand this with the examples of a lion and a deer. Adaptations in a lion, predator. The eyes of a lion are in the front of the face to help the animal judge the distance between itself and its prey. This means that the field of view of one eye partly overlaps the field of view of the other eye. It has long claws on its front legs and sharp teeth to grab and stab the prey easily. Its body is light brown in color. This helps it hide in dry grasslands, which are also brownish in color. Adaptations in a deer prey. The body color of a deer protects it from getting caught by predators. This is because it blends with the surroundings. Its sense of hearing is highly developed. This allows it to hear and recognize the movement of predators. Its eyes are on the side of its head, so that it can look in all directions. This helps it to escape danger. It has strong legs so that it can run very fast. This helps the deer to run away from the predators. Forests. Forests are large areas covered with trees and plants. They host a large variety of organisms, including tall trees, climbers, monkeys, lizards, snakes and birds. Adaptations of plants to suit the forest habitat. The trees are tall with thick trunk and dense leaves. They have drip tips that enable raindrops to run off quickly. This prevents the leaves from rotting and from fungal and bacterial growth. The trees have large leaves. The shade provides shelter to a large number of insects. Adaptations of animals to suit the forest habitat. Monkeys have strong and long arms and legs. New World monkeys have a prehensile tail that helps them move from branch to branch on trees. Their habitat is called arboreal habitat. Many forest animals camouflage to escape from their enemies. One such example is jaguar that has a spotted body. This helps it to hide among speckled light and shadow on the trees. A stick insect can also camouflage by just looking like a tree branch. Forest habitat has a variety of animals. Because of this, the competition for food among animals is very high. So, many animals have adapted to eat a particular kind of food. The parrots with their strong curved beak eat nuts. Toucans eat fruits with their long beaks found on thin branches. Mountains and polar regions. The weather in mountains is cold and windy. The ground is mostly covered with snow. Due to such conditions, it is difficult for plants to grow and for animals to move around and find food there. Therefore, they have certain adaptations to live in mountains. Adaptations in animals. Yak, snow leopard, penguin and polar bear found in the Arctic areas are some animals that live in mountains. The thick coat of fur on a yak protects it from the cold. It has hooves and horns, which help to break the ice and graze on the grass beneath the snow. The thick layer of fur on the entire body of a snow leopard protects it from the cold. A polar bear has a layer of fat underneath its skin in addition to the thick layer of fur. Both these factors protect it from cold. A polar bear can walk on snow with the help of padded feet. Adaptation in plants. Most plants in the mountains have short stems to avoid being uprooted by strong and frequent winds. There are cone-shaped trees with sloping branches, which allow the snow to fall off easily. The leaves of some plants are needle-shaped in order to prevent water loss due to transpiration. This is because most of the rainwater flows down the slopes, and very little is available for plants. Pine, cedar, and spruce are some trees that grow in mountain areas. Aquatic habitats. Ponds, rivers, lakes, seas, and oceans are aquatic habitats. The aquatic habitats are divided into two major categories: freshwater habitats and marine habitats. Freshwater habitats. Rivers, ponds, and lakes do not have salty water. Animals living in freshwater habitats are fish, ducks, frogs and euglenias. Various plants found in freshwater are water lily, duckweeds and grasses. Marine habitats. Seas and oceans contain salty water, therefore, they are called marine habitats. Red and brown algae are commonly found in marine habitats. The animals of marine habitats are marine fish, oysters, lobsters, dolphins, crabs, prawns and whales. Adaptations of plants in aquatic habitat. Roots are either absent or very poorly developed. This is because water is easily available to them. Examples: Wolffia and Hydrilla. Stems are long, slender, weak and spongy for reducing weight of the plant to avoid sinking in water. Examples: water lily and water hyacinth. The leaves are flat, broad and covered with wax to avoid decay due to long exposure in water. Example: water lily. Freshwater plants can be divided into three groups. Floating plants. The body of these plants is spongy. They have air chambers in their leaves and stems that allow them to float on water. Duckweed, water hyacinth and wolffia are some floating plants. Submerged plants. These plants have narrow, ribbon-like, or highly divided leaves, which can bend to avoid damage from flow of water currents. These plants are completely submerged in water. Hydrilla and Vallisneria are submerged plants. Fixed plants. These plants are rooted to the bottom of a water body, but their leaves and flowers float on the surface of the water. The leaves are large and have a waxy coating that prevents them from rotting. The lotus and water lily are fixed plants. Adaptations of animals in aquatic habitat. A fish has a streamlined body which reduces resistance due to water. Its body is covered with scales and mucus, which protect it from decaying in water. Fishes have gills to breathe in water. Dolphins and whales breathe through the blowholes located on the upper parts of their heads. They come to the water surface from time to gulp oxygen from the air. Ducks have webbed feet to swim in water. Their bones are hollow that help them float. Frogs have webbed feet for swimming in water and strong back legs for leaping and jumping on land. Amphibians. Amphibians are those animals that can live in water as well as on land and need a moist environment to survive. They have thin skin that allows them to breathe and absorb water. Amphibians are ectothermic, meaning their body temperature fluctuates based on their environment. They have two sets of limbs for movement, and they breathe through their skin and lungs. For example, frogs, toads, salamanders, etc. Habitat destruction and its conservation. Habitat plays a vital role in preserving the biodiversity of a region. Damage to habitats can disrupt this biodiversity, leading to a loss of species and ecological imbalance. For example, house sparrows, once common in cities, have declined in numbers due to habitat destruction from urban development and pesticide use. Other animals and plants are similarly affected by the destruction of their natural habitats. Destruction of habitat is one of the major causes of decline in biodiversity. Some of the notable examples of habitat destruction and the preventive measures to overcome it are discussed below. Cheetah Reintroduction Project. Cheetahs were declared extinct in India in 1952 and were reintroduced from Namibia to Kuno National Park, Madhya Pradesh, aiming to restore their population as a part of Cheetah Reintroduction Project initiated in 2022. Bengal Tiger Conservation Project Tiger was initiated in 1973 in India to protect Bengal tigers and their habitats through dedicated conservation measures. Protection of Great Indian Bustard. Certain areas in Gujarat, Rajasthan, and Maharashtra were declared as protected areas to support the survival of this endangered bird.